Good evening and welcome to episode 45 of the 214 Sports Show. Thank you for joining us once again. We're so glad you can join us here on YouTube and Spotify, your home for everything DFW Sports. My name is Joseph Duffy. I'm joined alongside my co-hosts, as usual, TJ Krolowitz and Courtney TJ. How we doing today, fellas?
Doing pretty good, man. Doing great. And we'll talk about it, but there is a player that just got traded that made my day even better. So we'll talk about it.
I'm doing me, bro. That's what I got to say.
Courtney is he's stunned by the standing of our country right now. I mean, last night was just something. I mean,
the biggest moment that happened last night, don't forget about what happened on CNN. The biggest moment was what happened on ESPN when Bronny James got drafted 55th to the Los Angeles Lakers to play with his son. I mean, to play with his dad, LeBron James.
Of course, the cause of nepotism.
Hey, not too much.
Crazy.
Hold on.
As if we've never seen anything like this.
There's nepotism all over the league.
I'm actually a Bronny James supporter, all right? He's not going to be a star, but I think he's actually going to be a solid NBA player, all right? I agree. But you know what? I do think that the JJ Redick hire is going to tank any hopes that the Lakers have of winning a championship for the rest of LeBron James's career. That man has no coaching experience. I don't think it's going to work out. But I don't know. I guess we'll see. I guess he is a basketball genius, so we'll really see how much of a genius he is.
JJ Redick did for the Dallas Mavericks. That's how you're going to treat him?
That's
all he did for the Dallas Mavericks?
A former Maverick. He played 6 games for us?
The bubble?
He was not in the bubble with us.
He wasn't?
No, it was the year after, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
He had that gold and white jersey. I remember him playing in the gold and white jersey.
Yeah, that was his render.
It's just so wild, bro. Like, that dude was the big, basketball voice in podcasting once he retired, man. He ascended quickly. And now that dude's coaching the LA Lakers?
Yeah, too quickly.
I can't believe it. I hope he succeeds.
I don't think it's going to work out.
I'll root for him, though. I'll root for him.
JJ Redick
I'm not rooting for him.
Player, so.
Really?
And you know what? I was thinking about it for a little bit, real quick, just on a side note. Episode 45, we've been going on a weekly schedule of naming episodes after players, and I was thinking about it a little bit. Number 45, you ready for this? DeJuan Blair, all right? This is the DeJuan Blair episode.
That's a throwback.
Shout out to DeJuan Blair and the one playoff run he had with us against his former team, San Antonio. That was great. That was magical. He even got suspended for a game, and he shouldn't have, and I still stand on it. If DeJuan Blair didn't get suspended for Game 5, we would have won that series.
These young kids don't know about Texas legend DeJuan Blair.
No, they don't. They don't.
No,
that's a go-to grid answer, by the way. Cross grid answer. DeJuan Blair.
Of course, I mean, some people are saying the biggest winners of the day yesterday were the U.S. men's national team, who somehow are, again, forgotten about after that loss to Panama yesterday. I mean, who would have thought that U.S. men's team was going to fly out and lose after getting a red card early, Tim Way again thrown out, and then, of course, the debate's happening.
When do they face Uruguay?
Say what?
When do they face Uruguay, today or tomorrow?
I think that's their next matchup, and they have to beat them to move out of the group.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to do that, to be honest with you. But
what about the U.S. men's football team?
Man, do not let them back in the country, man. Keep them in Japan, bro. Do not let them back here.
I don't go from the high of beating Pakistan in cricket and then going to the low of losing to Japan in football. It hurts.
They didn't just beat us; they stomped us.
Yeah, they stomped us. Yeah, it was pretty bad. I've seen people talk about how they had white DBs, that this was not an actual team, so...
What are we doing, USA football? I mean, I know they don't always have NFL athletes on that, but I've seen in the past they had Jordan Poyer or something like that. He's a Bills safety. I mean, I didn't think they have the most crazy talent, but still, should be losing to Japan.
I don't think they're allowed to. There has to be some kind of rule, bro. Because if you play 3 NFL players on that team, they probably smoking every team.
Well, what? It's I think it's usually high school or college kids, and those people are already committed and stuff. And I bet you those college teams just don't want them to play in that, in those games.
Yeah.
Risk injury and stuff, especially when I don't think they're even really getting paid. Their games aren't even getting broadcasted. I mean, the NIL value is just way better. So, I mean, I don't blame these players not wanting to play for USA. But
yep. So moving on to the draft, the Dallas Mavericks, the Western Conference champion Dallas Mavericks, of course, just lost the NBA Finals to the Boston Celtics. The news in the draft, the Mavs did not have a first-round pick, but they did have a second-round pick. Would make a draft day trade on the rare second day of the NBA draft. Of course, we know probably why there's a second day this year, but the second day of the draft, they select Melvin Ajinka with the trade with the New York Knicks. And so, I don't really have many thoughts on the trade, but this is just more like, an informational kind of thing because we don't know much about French second rounder, I guess. But France was cleaning up pretty much in the draft the entire time in New York, so congrats to them. But Mavs getting another, looks like he's a forward.
Yeah, kind of more like a guard, just shooting guard is what people have been kind of putting him in.
6'8", 214. Named to the All-Tournament second team in the FIBA Under-19 Basketball World Cup. Averaging 19.3 points, 2.9 rebounds. 6'8", athletic, can shoot. He's a 3-and-D player. I might be sold.
From what I've seen...
To be fair, that's crazy. I mean, Oh, go ahead.
No. You go ahead, Courtney. You go ahead.
No, I was going to say, they labeled the first overall pick in the draft as a 3-and-D player, too. So...
We saw Shea?
Yeah. When he got drafted, they said 3-and-D player. Like
as big as he is. Are you serious?
I swear, that's what I heard.
I think the best part of the draft was Jared McCabe and his TikTok dancing, like right when he got drafted, and Sixers fans saying they got emoted on for not picking Dalton Connect.
I was about to post that too. I was like, they were like bragging about his toughness and stuff, and like. How he's so much like a gamer, and then while they're talking about that, he's like,
he's
emoting. I was like, bro, that was bad timing.
Yeah, but back to the trade. First of all, I'm always super excited to hear about Pateri Kaponen news or whatever his name is, the guy who our draft rights. He was part of the trade to the New York Knicks. We've had his draft rights since 2007. He's had draft rights since 2007, and I think the Mavs have had the draft rights to him for as long as I can remember. We finally traded it away to the New York Knicks. That man's never going to the NBA, but it's just funny to see that he's still getting put in trades and he still has draft rights to his name. He was drafted 17 years ago. This is just another second-round pick. The odds of him being a NBA player is really low. I don't want people to think, I've seen a lot of Mavericks fans always give themselves false hopes on our second round picks, like AJ Hammond. I'm talking about Ricky Leto. I'm talking about these really late second round picks. I'm saying just these really late second round picks that people are like, these guys got potential, but in the end, they really don't amount to anything. There's really, really, really a low chance. I don't get the fact of trading up 7 picks just to draft a guy that they really want. Again, this is kind of new ownership in this, new people in the front office making moves. So, they saw something in him, and maybe he does end up being something. We'll see. It really depends on how he plays in summer league. Because I saw a couple highlights, and to me, he kind of just looks like Josh Green. But I'm not hating. I hope he's a good player, obviously, but I think second round picks are just kind of worthless in the end.
Apparently, I didn't even catch this. He's a cousin of Alexis Ajinka. Did you catch that? Former Mav.
Wait,
you don't remember Alexis Ajinka?
I'm trying to think.
Me happy.
Yeah, he was like 2010, right? Like that super tall dude.
You know what he looks like.
Yeah, he was super tall.
He's a coach now. On the Pels.
That's crazy.
I'm not the Pels.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's not even known for his time in Dallas. He's known for his time
I remember his face.
New Orleans?
He was on the championship team.
New Orleans with Anthony Davis, right?
Yeah,
something like that.
For sure.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, that's where I remember him from.
Oh my gosh, that was a name that I have not heard of in probably 5 years.
I mean, so apparently he just turned 20, young. Dwayne Price says that, well, referring to the front office, that they were surprised that he was still available. So they apparently see something in him if they want to jump ahead that far, I guess, and go after this guy. So hopefully it works out. We don't see a lot of second-round picks work out. It's just wild to see this next news that we're about to talk about, which is the headline for the Mavs today. And Tim Hardaway Jr. is no longer a Dallas Maverick. A day that some Mavs fans were just sitting on, waiting for to finally happen. They thought was supposed to happen on night one, the one when Nico Harrison was cooking up, but finally it happened. And so there's news that broke out this morning that Tim Hardaway Jr. was sent off to Detroit along with three second-round picks for Quentin Grimes. Thoughts on this trade, TJ?
Well, it had to be done. It had to be done, and it's about time. And first off, before I kind of get into this trade, I do want to say that I think I really hope the Mavericks fans don't take away the fact of what Tim Hardaway Jr. was as a teammate, as a player in Dallas for these 4 or 5 years that he was here. Obviously, he was a super frustrating player, but you can't say that he didn't put hustle in. You can't tell that he didn't have the tenacity, the intensity every game. The chances of us being in the 5th seed this year were low if he didn't score those 40 points against New Orleans and had that stretch in December, January where he was averaging like 20, 25 points a game. I mean, he's a good player that unfortunately just has a lot of streaky moments, and unfortunately he had the worst of his streaks. He had the worst of his streaks in the playoffs, and of course his tenure is going to end in a bad note with Dallas, and he's going to seem like he's frustrated. He always said he was frustrated with his role, which pissed off a lot of Mavericks fans, but I mean, he was a Maverick. He was a true Maverick. He really repped the team. He really repped the city, and I hope that fans don't really remember him for being, this terrible player, because I did like him, and I did like how he handled himself, even with all the pressure and all the hate that he would get for his streakiness and stuff. So I do want to say that. But with that being said, I really do like the trade. I think Quentin Grimes is a great player. I've also heard people say that Quentin Grimes is another Josh Green. But I do hear a lot of people say that. He might even look a little bit more like Josh Green.
Josh Green himself.
But, I mean, look, just 2 years ago, before he, started to ride the bench with New York and obviously struggled a lot with Detroit with the little time he was there. But when he was playing with the Knicks, when he was starting for the Knicks, I mean, he was a 38.5% three-point shooter. He was averaging 11 points. I mean, and he was two assists, 3 rebounds a game, shooting 80% from the line. These are all stats that stand out to me because, I mean, this is something that the Mavericks struggle with. They struggle with free throw shooting. 80% is something that not a lot of Mavericks shoot from the free throw line, and also 38% from the three-point line. Something that we really need. I really hope that he can find his 3-point shot again, like he had in his second year with the Knicks. We'll see, but overall, much better situation the Mavericks are in now than they were yesterday, with a $16 million contract on their team who wouldn't play, who can't play. So, yeah.
Courtney, what about you?
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel the same way. But like Tim Hardaway for me as a Maverick, he will be remembered. I remember all the good times. He actually at a point was one of my more favorite Mavericks in recent memory. Like for the past 10 years, I'd say he was one of my more favorite Mavericks. Obviously, like this is after the playoff run versus the Clippers and everything. Not this year.
2021, yeah.
He had a really good playoff year, yeah.
Got him paid.
Got him paid. I was like, you know what? Because I didn't want him to leave. No Mavericks fan really want him to leave after that. We all want to see him get paid. Yeah. So it was just a good moment in Mavericks' time when he got paid, and we were building that roster up, and then he just at plateau, and he just crashed every year since then. And it's sad to see it happen. It's sad to see him not get played. Obviously, coaching change and everything, and just different styles are happening, but and different players are stepping up, and he kind of just got lost out of rotation. He just get paid too much money. Then he turned into one of my favorite players, to one of my favorite trade assets. And then, so I'm happy. I'm happy to see him gone. I like Tim Hardaway as a person, so I hope he does in Detroit. But we kind of sent him there to die, so that kind of sucks. Agent. But yeah, his agent and him sending him out here to die. So I hope he does well in Detroit. But Quentin Grimes, like you said, TJ, when he was first starting out with the Knicks, he was actually a very good rotation player. Very young rotation player that could
good perimeter
shoot.
Defender too.
Exactly. But I feel like he did also get lost in that system as well. They had to ship him off. Obviously, they have a whole new game plan that they're trying to figure out. And Nova Knicks and all that. But they should have done before that. But he also got lost in the rotation. Then he went to Detroit where his career also went to die. And his stats in Detroit, I'm not even going to count because, it's Detroit.
It's only 6 games, small sample.
Yeah, so,
and it's Detroit,
Yeah, he's playing with, no one wants to be there. So, I'm happy for him to get the opportunity as well. I hope that he can, find a spot on this roster. Obviously, there's more moves to make. We spoke about it before. Obviously, there's more moves to make for his Mavericks team, but Tim Hardaway leaving is the first big step to something bigger. Obviously, we had placed Tim Hardaway with a Tim Hardaway type player. We still kind of do need a player that can make their own shot. But at least we got a player that can hopefully make their threes. Then in free agency, I'm hoping that we can find someone that can create their own shot. Or we could trade for someone that can create their own shot like Paul George.
Or this might be crazy. Jason Kidd might want to kill me of saying this, but maybe give Jaden Hardy more minutes? Maybe.
Possibly not trying to kill a young guy's confidence. I don't know. Just throwing that out there. But anyways, the Detroit Pistons, still no head coach as it stands right now. Fired Monty Williams after one season. A very awful start to that season last year. Tried to pick it up eventually, but could not get anything going. Not much you can do when you have that kind of roster there. Which, I mean, look, they just drafted another guard, fourth and Ron Holland. That guy was going to go to Texas originally. Oh, not originally, but eventually I think he committed and then moved on to the G League Ignite. And
he can't shoot either.
I just don't understand that draft pick from their perspective. I mean,
that's true.
I don't know how many guards you need. I think the Kings did the same thing. This is why bad teams stay bad,
Yeah, no, it's unbelievable. It's the same deal with Charlotte. I had no clue who they were drafting at 6. I don't understand some of these draft picks that these teams consistently make. They always flop. Detroit and Charlotte are the 2 main teams, I feel like, who, thinking about Detroit, looking at Charlotte's lottery picks since Kemba Walker, I mean, it looks like that team couldn't even beat, I don't even know if that team could beat the Pistons. Frank Kaminsky, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. Are you kidding me? Jeremy Lamb? No, Jeremy Lamb wasn't drafted by them, right?
No. Frank Kaminsky. I don't want to go too hard on Frank because he didn't have too bad of a career, but I mean, he's gone now. He's not in the league anymore.
Yeah.
But it's ridiculous, man. You can't blame it on Michael Jordan anymore if it's Charlotte. He's gone. So, I mean, the Kings. I don't understand that draft pick at all. You already have $1 billion guards. You just missed the playoffs again when you should have made it.
In my opinion, I think the biggest head scratcher was San Antonio and trading the 8th pick for middle schoolers. I think that was the most head scratching move.
That pickup was perfect.
Yeah.
I think going into the draft, because I actually, my new job at Sprouts, I actually work with a San Antonio fan, and he was telling me right before the draft, the 2 people that he wants is Cassell and Dillingham. So
no
he
way.
gets Cassell, he literally said before the draft, he said that's exactly what I want. I literally hear in the corner of the room just yelling. I hear a big yes. I'm
like,
sick. And then this is when he got Dillingham and Cassell, so he's hyped.
Yeah.
10 minutes later, he comes by. And he said, I'm going to kill myself. I was like, what happened? And he said they traded Dillingham for two first rounders in like 2030.
Yeah.
I was shocked. But I personally think that they're trying to build capital. This is just the optimistic view. I think they're trying to build capital to get somebody to play alongside Wembanyama. But
I mean, they have to have a reason somehow for doing that.
I don't understand. I can't believe they allowed that in the NBA by drafting that far ahead. Like, that's insane.
It is pretty crazy. I mean, look at Rob Dillingham's like highlights. I mean, I'm telling you, man, he looks like a Dennis Smith Jr. And I'll tell you, man, Dennis Smith Jr. He's actually a solid NBA player and somebody that the Mavericks should pick up. I feel like this is every offseason, but I mean, seriously, awesome. Tim Hardaway Jr. is an insane defender and can really, really help this team now. But I mean, Dennis Smith Jr. was a really, really solid player, and I think he was on his way to stardom if it wasn't for Rick Carlisle. I still stand behind that. And I think Rob Dillingham falls under the same category as Dennis Smith Jr. He looks like he plays just like Dennis Smith Jr. Explosive, streaky. I will say he's an incredible pickup for Minnesota. I don't know how Minnesota decided. They must have been like, seriously, man, they must have been smoking weed or something to be like, you know what? Let's go trade for the 8th pick and trade our 2030 picks for it. Like,
they probably thought like the Spurs were like trolling, bro. And this is
because the Spurs called them up or something. I think Minnesota went up.
I think the Spurs did. And it's weird to say because I mean R.C. Buford, he's been a GM of the Spurs since like the early 2000s. He's been cooking all these picks up for years for the Spurs. So he's not some new guy in the front office. He runs the.
I thought he left. I thought he left.
He got promoted.
Interesting.
So, is he still the one calling the shots, or is it the Brian guy?
I mean, they probably all call the shots, for being honest. He is the CEO as it stands. So, I mean, I don't know if he's still – I think he's still making basketball calls.
He probably is making basketball calls, too.
He's the CEO as it stands. Maybe he's not anymore. Maybe I could be wrong. Let me look up the Spurs GM just to be sure.
I know it's a new guy that's not Buford, because Buford would never be
Brian Wright. Okay. Brian Wright. He's now the technical GM of the San Antonio Spurs. Wow.
But it's kind of the same thing of saying, like, Brad Stevens isn't making...
Yeah.
Well, no, Brad Stevens is GM. I'm tripping. But I know what you mean, though. Like, he still has interest.
Yeah. Because at some point they'd make like decisions as a collective, even though he's technically not like the GM. It's just a weird move. I don't understand that. You don't see that from the Spurs organization that much. They usually take what like is right there, and they harvest it and develop like great talent. So looking this far ahead for a trade is crazy. The fact that it won't be finalized for like almost 10 years is just kind of insane.
And I don't get why you pick the Timberwolves out of all teams. I know you had other partners because Timberwolves are good at contend.
I hate when teams help like young teams develop, bro. I hate that.
Yeah, well, it just feels like San Antonio. I understand that they're not in win now mode now. Victor Wembanyama is just going into his second year, but trading for middle schoolers, man. And I get that getting assets, but I mean, there had to have been somebody in San Antonio's front office that has like some, they know projection and stuff. They have, they have somebody who studies projection and see where they are. And obviously somehow they found something that thought that maybe with Minnesota's age, the players on their team, that they're not going to be a good team in 2031, and that San Antonio is projected to be, probably like a top 5 team in 2031, and that's why they did it. But I'm surprised they want to wait that long for a pick, because I still don't see any value in that pick until probably around 2028 when you start really seeing what prospects could be there, where you can really start predicting where Minnesota can be at and stuff. And so I don't understand that, you still got a long time, man. 7 years. I mean, that's like, who got drafted in the 2017 draft? That was Markelle Fultz, Lonzo Ball. That feels like a lifetime ago,
Literally.
So, I mean, I just don't understand it. I don't understand it.
Comparison there, because it does feel like ages ago.
Mm-hmm. That was the Dennis Smith Jr. draft,
Wait, so that would mean trade a pick in the first round for that 2017 draft. The trade would happen in 2010. That's like LeBron was still a Cavs in 2010.
That's so bad, man. That's so bad.
That was the offseason he left. The decision.
That is wild, bro.
The decision. The telecast to decide where he's going. That's crazy. Nobody can pull it off today. Nobody.
Nah, it's impossible.
Well, that'll do it for the Dallas Mavericks on the pod today. The Western Conference champions, Tim Hardaway, is finally gone, and the Mavs make a draft day trade for forward Melvin Dejinga. Did you want to do Pirtle at all? Or?
Let's run it. I already got it set up.
Do Pirtle.
All right. Let's get that first name. First name's got to be the newest Maverick, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking the other newest Maverick.
Ain't no way he's on the database, bro.
Quentin Grimes. Yeah, that was bad. We had Detroit last week. I don't know, Joe, if you knew, but we had Chimenzi
Metu. Yeah.
Yeah, we did not get that, obviously. So a young guy in the West. Gonna be a forward.
Let's go Brandon Clark.
Brandon Clark. Okay. Is he still on the Grizzlies?
I think so.
Believe so.
Interesting.
Okay.
Not bad. He's 27. That's crazy.
Damn.
Yeah, you know what? I think he was. You know what's funny? I think he was in that 2017 draft.
No way.
I think he was.
That would make sense at this time.
I would say, do we go Austin Reeves? Austin Reeves, anyone?
We'll be there for that.
Is he?
No, he's not younger than 24.
Let's see. 26. Okay.
But
I'm so stupid. He's in the Southwest. I'm so stupid. That's so dumb. I didn't even catch that. My fault, y'all.
Wait, how old is Josh Green now?
Josh Green's got to be older. We could guess Josh Green. He's what number?
We can guess him.
Yeah, because he's number 8.
I don't know how y'all remember jersey numbers. I can't do it anymore.
So even worse. So he's even. But we got the age right. 23, 6. I thought he was more than 6'5". That's interesting. They have him as a guard too. So Pelicans, Rockets, or Spurs, which is not favorable for me. I would guess even Jalen Green. Jalen Green, anybody?
Green is a bad one. Dude, they can play Green as a guard though. I think.
You think they are?
As a guard, yeah. We could try it though.
Yeah, we could try it because I feel like this is right. He's number 4 or something, right? That's not him. Damn.
As a guard.
So Pelicans or Spurs? This is not looking good, guys.
How old is Herb Jones? Is
Herb Jones. That's a good one. Isn't Herb Jones?
They might put Herb as a guard too, though.
I feel like and I feel like he's who would be like number 1 and number 2?
How old is Zion?
You want it? It is Zion. It is Zion.
It actually is Zion. I think it is, yeah.
Hey, good call. I can never think about the major players just because I always feel like it's never them.
That's crazy. Right. He's already listed.
I think a couple days ago it was Giannis too, so that's pretty crazy. I do not think he's 6'6".
Oh yeah, man. He's never been tall, bro. He just plays big. That dude.
That is crazy. That is crazy. He's 6'6".
The funny thing about Zion, like you can't really call him a bust. Like when he's available and he's healthy, he plays well.
Oh yeah.
No, he's had for sure one of the more
I think you can call him a bust though, just because of injuries. I guess you can't control injuries, but if we can't control injuries, then Greg Oden's not a bust.
When his team needs him the most.
Yeah, but it's not like he plays bad when he's there. I don't know. Like I don't know what classify as a bust. It depends. Like he's not like a Michael Olowokandi bust.
No, you're right. That's pretty hard to do.
Cool.
That's pretty hard to
live. Yeah, that's a crazy fool. But he didn't live up to his potential for sure. That's a fact.
Yeah, I would say he's gotten to his potential, but if he can't be on the court, what are they?
I can see that.
I don't know.
He has to drop weight, but I don't think he's gonna he can do that. Like it's his body type. He's just naturally a muscular guy.
I don't think he can be good with. He plays so good with his weight. I feel like if he loses his weight, I mean, what is he gonna do? He's not. Yeah, that's how he gets all his points. Is just bodying people into the paint. That's what we. And it works. Like, why not let him just keep doing it? I guess it's because of injuries, maybe. I don't know.
How a guy that big can jump like him, like he can, is just I don't know.
It's incredible. Yeah.
And the funny thing is, we thought he was big back at Duke, and then you look at his highlights, and he looks like what people want him to look like right now.
That's what I'm saying. He looks so similar.
I still think there's a chance he comes to the Mavericks, man. He loves Dallas. I'll tell you that.
He loves Dallas.
He says, look his lips, said Dallas.
I saw something where, like, you know, like the former porn star that apparently he was having like this big like thing where he had more tweets about him than he had games played in the NBA. That was great. I can't remember what her name was.
He is sick for that, bro. Start with the M. I think it's Mariah Mills or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right.
He's sick for last week, walking, and someone quote tweeted like, "He's a sick man for this."
He's actually sick. He's mid-classic. It looks like. But anyways, we're gonna move on to the last segment of the show, to the Texas Rangers, the World Series champion Texas Rangers, who are going through quite the dry spell. And,
it doesn't feel as good to say it anymore.
Doesn't feel as good, of course. And riding in Baltimore, just lost last night, 11-2. Corbin Burns was on the mound for the Orioles. John Gray had to start. Was not a good start for him to start. The game was down 0-3 in the first inning. Was never really a competition. So again, the same thing with this Ranger squad. I hate to just repeat myself over and over again, but they just cannot find their footing. They sweep a team, they start a streak, and then they just get swept. And it's frustrating because we've seen it now at least 2 or 3 different times. Of course, exiting that LA series where they somehow won 2 out of 3 games in Dodger Stadium. David Robertson having one of the more impressive performances of the MLB season. Then he gets swept to the Mariners the series after, excuse me. And then you go to New York. New York comes to Globe Life Field and you lose 2 of 3 there. And then you dominate the Royals of all teams. So it's probably going to be a wild card team in this year's AL wild card race. And then you drop another dud in Milwaukee. So, I just don't understand what's going on with this team. They might just not have it this year. They can't really score in with runners in scoring position in the midst of a 4-game losing streak. TJ, what are you seeing right now? Is the season on the ropes as it stands? Is this where the season stands in Baltimore?
I don't know. It's tough because there's been many times in this division in my lifetime that I've seen teams be down 8 games this late into the season, heading into July, even as late as August, and coming back and winning the division or even coming really close. This team still has time to turn it around, and I think, this All-Star break just can't come soon enough for them. This team has obviously the experience, and I just don't know what's wrong with the offense. It's so tough. But what's so frustrating is how much we struggle after getting good series. Just like what you said, winning the series against LA and then going on the tank against, I believe, New York the next series. Sweeping or not, I don't think they played New York after that, but you know what I mean. And then also having, the sweep against the Royals and looking good and seeing competent pitching, which has not been the problem, obviously, but, and seeing better hitting and stuff and really, really hoping that this was the turning point and then going and getting swept by Milwaukee. Now, Milwaukee's a good team, and I know people are saying, well, they're on the road and stuff, and they're playing on the road against Baltimore. But this is what makes me so angry is what happened. What happened to this team's road tenacity? You're talking about a team that went 11-0 in the road in the postseason, and now they're 17-25 on the road this year. It doesn't make sense. They're struggling really, really bad on the road. Their hitting on the road has been worse, and their pitching has been worse on the road. I just don't understand what happened to this team. The switch completely from being this road dominant team, the best road team of all time. Nobody's gone 11-0 on the road in the postseason before, and to go to this, it's surprising to me. I don't understand what's going on. Maybe you have more insight. I've been struggling to watch them recently. With the Mavs and Stars in the finals and stuff, and me starting, work and stuff. I've been trying to watch them, but I haven't been watching them a lot. So you tell me, Joe, or you tell me, Courtney. I don't know. You might have been watching more than me.
Hey, I don't know about that, bro. I don't know about that. But listen, I mean, I actually think that last week I had like a little glimpse of like hope for his team, like just a small glimpse. Because we didn't go on this losing streak yet. I knew it was bad. Like I say every time, I know it's bad when I don't see Joe. I don't see the ring pop up on Joe's story.
The classic,
I know the Mavericks aren't playing no more. The Stars ain't playing no more. He don't
The
got
only time I post, bro, just when my team
Rangers
wins.
victors. And he ain't got no Rangers victories, bro. People might think Joe's dead, bro. Like, they don't know where he's at. So it's like, it's bad, bro. I think I saw you post one, like, what, it's been like almost a week now?
I mean, the last one I posted had to be when we beat Kansas City 4-0 on Sunday. So
Yeah,
almost.
That one.
Almost. It's embarrassing, man.
But,
I mean,
yeah. I'd say this team, I agree with Joe. I just don't think it's their year this year. I think, certain things happen in the middle of seasons that just kind of derail it. I don't really think it's going to be hard for them to gather themselves. Maybe, we see all the time in all sports that all-star breaks do actually revitalize teams. I don't think this is one of those teams that's going to revitalize, though. Obviously, they still have people that didn't come back from injury, but I just don't think that. I feel like it's too little too late. I mean, third in this AL West, considering how the AL West started, is just disgusting. So I don't know. I mean, losing 11-2 to any team is just like, it's just dreading to watch this team. Cause it's the same losses every single time. But I do want to hear more from Joe because, he's hella up the longest. I also have to ask you a question that we asked last week. Do you think we should buy, sell, or hold, or just hold?
We probably are more likely to sell. I mean, I hate to hear it, but hate to say it, but I feel like they're going to try to trade Nathan Baldy. If this series does not end up well, they will sell. I should say that. This is a big-time opponent who is one of the top 3 in the league. So if we end up getting swept in Baltimore, we are selling all the way. I really do believe that. Because we're about to be 10 games under 500 if we get swept. They need to at least split this series to stay in the wild card hunt. And let me also say, I mean, this division right now is still not necessarily over. I believe that around this time last year, we had a 6-game lead in the division. Of course, the Astros came back to win it. And I'm not trying to hold on to hope and say that we're going to win the division, but I'm not going to act like the wild card race is necessarily over. I mean, that's our best chance, I think, right now, as we stand in third in the division. But as the Rangers' schedule looks, I mean, it's just sad to see how they had so many winnable games. And Courtney remembered me and TJ going off a little bit last year about how we were choking so many games with Will Smith and Jose Leclerc, but we're not even in some of these games. I mean, it's already over before it even starts sometimes. And you saw it last night again, down 3-0 in the first inning with John Gray surrendering those 3 runs early, and the offense just can't get anything going. So, and to be fair, this is what we expected from a champion Bochy team heading into the next season. This is what his teams do by history. His Giant squad were usually never good the year after. Not in 2011. Not in 2012. No, let me see. 2011, 2014, or 2016. So, I mean, his post-championship seasons usually turn out to be like this. They're not always going to be like complete duds, but they're not playoff contenders. So if this team doesn't make the playoffs, I would not be technically surprised by historical standards. But I don't want to count this team out right now. Not just yet. We'll have to see one more week and see how it goes, because looking ahead, the schedule is not actually too bad. After Baltimore, they play against San Diego, Tampa, and LA. Tampa Bay is actually heating up right now. But these next 3 opponents, they'll allow us to see something about this team. If they have any fight left in them.
I'll be at the July 4th game. Hope Max Scherzer's the probable starter. I can't wait.
Yeah, man. Josh Young should be returning in about possibly at tops a week and a half, if not just a week. But he looks like he's going to start swinging his bat soon. So I think we're going to get a little bit more healthy as we approach the All-Star break. Of course, we're hosting in Globe Life Field in Arlington. First All-Star game in has to be ages for me. I can't remember another time we've hosted the All-Star game.
It would have been like 1995, I think, is actually the year.
Jeez, that long is crazy. And this area, DFW would eat that up. Surprised we haven't had more All-Star games. So nice for the DFW area to host this. So that'll wrap it up for episode 45 of the 214 Sports Show. Please make sure to support the platform by liking, subscribing, and following. We post a full episode on YouTube and Spotify at 214 Sports Show. For the username, you can find it on YouTube and Spotify in full. TJ, you want to give your socials real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, follow me on TJ.Krylowitz on Instagram, and then also on Twitter, I'm at TJ_Krylowitz. Yeah, you can follow me there.
And Mr. Machon?
I was trying to find something. Let me
You better put something on the soundboard.
No, I just wanted to see if the last time Dallas Mavericks hosted an All-Star game, but technically it's been since the 80s. Because in 2010,
well, yeah, they had it in 2010 because Arlington, they put it in the Cowboys Stadium.
But I guess
for the All-Star game. But the All-Star events like the dunk contest were at the A's.
They never get All-Star events, bro. That's crazy,
bro. Guess we not up yet, man. But you know who is up, man? 214 Sports Show, and you can follow me at CLiveTheLife on Instagram, and on Twitter, on X, you can follow me on C_Machani.
That's his cover, C Machani. That account, please follow that account.
Hey man, likes are off X, man. I might use my OG one now. They took likes off, so.
C Machani's gonna be turned to the burner.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, you can follow me at Instagram at Joseph_Duffy99. Also the same username for my X/Twitter. And then also on TikTok, trying to grow the platform. Gained a few followers, but it's so much more difficult to gain followers and views on 2024 TikTok. It's pretty hard for a brother today in this age of TikTok because they want to monetize literally everything, as are a lot of social media today, especially with Twitter, pretty much paying for views and subscribers and likes. So it's not as easy as it used to be. I would really appreciate if you follow the TikTok at Joe_Duffy, actually. So Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok for me. Once again, please follow the podcast and push it on your platforms as well. Wouldn't mind a retweet or repost, and a like and a follow on YouTube and Spotify for the full podcast where we repost it. So that'll do it for episode 45. Joseph Duffy, TJ Krylowitz, Courtney Machani.
The Juan Blair episode.
The Juan Blair episode 45. Thank you for joining us. Have a great day.